Okay, so for today's lesson, we are going to talk about using the APA format, the key to conducting research and creating a research paper. So today is magpo-focus tayo sa APA. So na-discuss naman na natin to before, but why are we going to discuss this again? So i-discuss lang natin siya ulit for us to have a short overview about it and to remember. Kasi after making your chapter 5 is you're going to make your bibliography. And in our bibliography, you're going to use your APA format. Let's start. Okay. So first, let's get to the point. So what is APA? What is it for? Or why do we use citation skills or styles in our research? So first is if you still remember when we say APA, it is the American Psychological Association. It doesn't mean author or something like that. Kasi yung iba sinasabi, ang ibig sabihin daw ng APA is author, publishing date, mga ganun-ganun. Okay? So again, when we say APA, that is the American Psychological type ko, ha? American Psychological Association. Association. So change lang natin yung font sa red. Okay. So yes, that's the American Psychological Association. So this is the style used in social sciences such as psychology, nursing, and many more programs of the study. So there are different benefits for this style. Okay. So we are using this citation style not because gusto lang. Okay. It is somewhat deeper. Okay. So let's start with paper presentation. Okay. So when we use this style, we are making it uniform. So when we say uniform, magkakamukha. Okay? Because as much as possible, we don't want this kind of citation like Tumala 2012. Tapos may makikita ka rin dyan na Shane Tumala 2012. Okay? Or minsan may nakalagay Tumala Shane 2012. Okay? So it looks weird. Okay? Kasi sa research, kailangan talaga is uniformity. So that's what we want. So that's the reason why we are following these formats. So ano ba ang tama dito? So the right one is this one. Okay? So next, we're done with paper presentation. Let's move on to plagiarism. So we want to prevent plagiarism. Okay? So this ensures writers avoid copying others' work. Kasi, di ba, when we're doing research, we have to search. That's why research nga. Okay? You have to search for things that will answer your question. You have to search for things that will explain us deeper the concept of your research. So, you need to find information in the internet from the books, from journals, and many more. And you don't want to copy that. And of course, you have to acknowledge someone, especially kung yung idea na yun is originally theirs. Okay? We will acknowledge them through the use of citation. Okay? So another purpose of using a citation style is for organization. So it helps writers organize their points and focus on paper content. Okay. So why? So do you still remember when your panel talked about how you're going to organize your introduction? So if you're going to organize your introduction, let's say your research is about education. So you start first with what is education? Okay, in general. Okay, like what is the meaning of education? Next is education in the world. So, ano bang status ng education ngayon sa buong mundo? Let's talk about that. So, let's say pandemic education yung topic ninyo, no? So, next is education in the Philippines. Okay? So, if we talk about education in the Philippines, it is a mix of face-to-face and online class as well as modular. Okay? But what happens in your education sa inyong local community? Okay? Kasi it depends on your place. So let's say ang research ninyo ay may kinalaman sa um, mga students ng Tanawan City. Okay? So it's a different case. So you can say sa public is modular, sa private school is face-to-face, ay sorry, face-to-face, sorry, online class. Okay? So, ganon. Pero, paano pag pumunta tayo sa ibang lugar sa Philippines? Let's take, for example, pumunta tayo ng Davao or somewhere in the Mindanao region. So, there you will say, face-to-face sa mga student dito. So it depends. So you have to organize your introduction or whatever it is in your research in this order, starting from general to specific. So I hope you get it. Okay? So kaya lang tayo may ganito na mga citation for your research is to organize it para maayos yung information. Like, this information came from Shane, this information came from Casey, ganon. Okay? So the next one, in also using citation styles, we are improving our writing skills. So me, myself, I think this is true. Kasi nung starting na gumamit ako ng mga citation, like for example, during college, I was able to apply it up until today. Okay? Because I was able to um, segregate which information came from me and which information came from others. Okay. It improves writing skills in a way that it helps you distinguish the difference between the third person, first person, second person, or even formal and informal writing. As we all know, formal writing, kadalasan dyan, especially kapag mga informative essays, is you really need to add citation. Okay, because it is helping us to acknowledge the person who gave us the information. So it provides a consistent and informative writing style, which lends to improve writing. Okay. So you yourself, if someone asks you to make an essay, especially your teacher, lalo na sa college, guys, always, kung gusto nyo ng mataas na points when you're going to make essay, let's say your teacher asks you, okay, can you please make an essay about globalization? You can encounter that in college. So if you're going to make an essay, cite people, because it will help to make your essay more, not necessarily attractive, but more on my effort, and of course, talagang yung information is legitimate. Okay? So kaya nga sabi dito is citation styles will help you in college. So as a future college student, you will use this in your future. Actually, guys, you're very lucky that I'm teaching you APA. Kasi I have students who are asking me before. Okay, I have my students before, they asking me, "Ma'am, bakit po ganito yung pinapagawa sa amin? Yung teacher po namin sa thesis is nagbigay lang po sila ng example and they want us to do it like that. But they did not explain it to us kung paano siya talaga gagawin." So you're very lucky na hinihimay-himay natin dito yung thesis, no? And as well as when it comes to citation style. Do you still remember? I also discussed to you the sampling methods, which is talagang dinidiscuss yun sa statistics subject. Okay, so you're very lucky. Okay, so moving on. Okay, we will proceed later dun sa iba pang information when it comes to citing. Okay, so today we are going to deal with paper sections and format. Paano ba yung mga parts ng paper, ano bang format ng paper, paano ba yung in-text citations, and how to do the reference page citations, or what is even that. That's your bibliography actually. Okay, so first let's talk about the format. So the format of your research, what does it look like? Okay, so first it should be double spaced. So ano po yung double space? So if you go to spacing, that is 2.0. Okay, so that's the spacing. Okay, so next your font must be 12. 12 ang size. Okay, and Times New Roman, but for us, we're gonna be using Arial. Okay, we're gonna be using Arial for our research. Kasi it's up to us naman if we're going to use something else, but I recommend you use Arial. Okay, so next, let's go to margins. So for our margins, it's not necessarily 1 inch lang. Kasi we're going to be binding your research soon. So we are going to stick with this margin, 1 inch, 1 inch, 1 inch, and 1.5 inch. So bakit po siya 1.5 inch? Kasi nga ibubookbind siya. So itong side na to, lahat ng nasa side na to is 1.5 inch. Okay, please remember that if you still remember. Okay, next, our page number should be at the top right hand side of the page. So your page number should be here, page 1, page 2, page 3, it should be here. Okay, Ano po ba? Paano po ba gawin ng page number? You don't type it. Okay? You don't type it just like that. You click insert page number. Okay? And then, next is include a running header. So this one, it's not necessarily required. It depends on the format. But what does it mean? Kasi sabi nila yung title daw is nandito sa header. Alam nyo ba guys yung ano, yung kapag ito yung page 1, page 2, page 3, tas may nauulit yung nandito sa taas, lagi siyang nandun sa mga sa top na yun, parang page number but not. Okay, hindi na natin siya kailangan ilagay kasi yung iba sa title nyo ay masyadong mahaba. Okay, and always remember that your research title should not exceed 50 characters, including your spacing and punctuation. No matter how many spaces that has and letters, it should always be 50 characters. So please kindly count the letters and spaces in your research title. If it's 50 characters, we have to change that. Okay, moving on. Okay. So when it comes to our paper sections, every paper in the APA should include and read the following order. So first, our title page. So your title page should include your header, title of the paper, writer's name, and school. So kayo, meron na kayong title page. Ang format ng inyong title page is title, school affiliation, and then your names, right? Okay, so let's move on to your abstract. So the abstract is a concise summary of your research. Abstract length should be between 100 and 250 words. So yung research abstract ninyo is consisting of 150 words minimum and a maximum of 250 words. So for short, it's just a page. It's just one page, okay? So, you write your research abstract after you're done with your paper. Because if you don't have chapter 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, you cannot make your abstract because it's the summary of your research. So, what does your abstract include? It includes your SOP, your respondents, the results, and your recommendations. Okay? So, yun po ang laman ng abstract in a very summarized version. So next is your main body. So this is your actual paper. It should include subheading for sections of your paper. So later on, I'll discuss to you what are those. Okay, so ano ba yung main body natin tinatawag? So that includes your chapter 1 to 5. That's the main body of your research. So after your chapter 1 to 5 is you have to put there your reference page or the so-called bibliography. So the reference page is including all the sources that you used for your paper. So it should be double spaced, alphabetical order, and with a hanging indent. First line not intended, but the lines following are. Okay, so we'll talk about these one by one later. Okay, so this is the title page. So as you can see, this is not the required title page for us. We have our own format with a title, school, something like that, affiliation, and names, and as well as the date. So, hindi ito yung format natin. So, I think you know our format na. You already have your title page, right? So, let's continue. Okay. So, next, let's get on with our abstract. So, as you can see, this is a research abstract example. It's not very long, and it shouldn't be. Hindi pwedeng mahaba ang research abstract. Why? Kasi kapag mahaba research abstract, let's say you're going to present your thesis sa panel members. Okay, there are different kinds of panel. Pwede kayong mag-present sa amin. Pwede rin kayo mag-present internationally, nationally, whatever you want. If they saw your research abstract na mahaba, they will be bored and they will not be interested in your research anymore. So as much as possible, keep it simple and short. So next is the main body. So this is what it looks like. So ito yung sinasabi ko kanina, ano yung parang meron tayong sinabi na parang may short title emerald daw dito. Okay, so that's the short title thing, but you don't need that. But look at the page number. It's here on the right side. Okay, and then mga subheadings, sila yung mga nakapasok sa gilid. So that's what you call subheadings. Okay, so moving on. So let's go to our reference page. So reference page or bibliography. So there are some things that you have to remember for that. So first, it should be alphabetical order and groups. So I will put here the things that you have to remember for your bibliography. Okay, it should be, wait, can't type. Alphabetical order. Next, it should be grouped. Okay, and remember the hanging word. Okay, so what is that? So let's start with alphabetical order. So when we say alphabetical order, can you see this example? So the first one is Aloy Young, PA, Banner GR, and Bennett. Okay, so as you can see, it's alphabetical. Yung pagkakasunod-sunod niya is alphabetical from this one, and this one. Right? So alphabetical dito. So what do we mean by grouped? So this is what I mean by grouped. So when we say group, it's like this. You have to sort uh the the references. So if there are books, they're the first one. Also have research, journals, and electronic information. So what are those? So lahat ng references nyo na galing sa books is under ng books. Lahat ng references nyo na galing sa research, sa mga thesis na sa research. Nakasort yan, guys. Okay? And then lahat ng galing sa journals nakasort din as well as electronic information. So when we say electronic information, those are from the internet. Okay? So what does it look like? So let's say this is your thesis. So ibig sabihin meron tayo from Tomala, let's say Tomala S, let's say, I'm sorry, 20, nga tama, 2012. And then let's say ang pangalan ng ang title ng book ko ay literature. Saan ako nag-publish nun? Let's say is Rex Bookstore, Philippines. Yan. So, ganyan ang itsura niyan pag books. 'Di ba? So, pag under naman tayo ng electronic information, is ganito naman ang itsura niya. Okay. So, let's say, galing to sa internet. So, tatanggalin natin to, 'di ba? Then, retrieved from, let's say, HTTPS www.12345.com/ blah blah blah. Yan. Okay. So, ganyan po ang itsura niya. Okay? So, nakasort po siya. Kung ano yung books, yung research, yung journal, at electronic information. So, next, let's go to hanging. Ano ba yung tinatawag nating hanging? If you don't remember what hanging is, oh, wait. Oh, no. Hindi ko siya ma-edit. Alam mo, siya. Okay. Okay, so this is what you call hanging. Okay, can you see this one? Ito yung first part. Tapos, hindi siya pantay dun sa una. So, that's what you call hanging. Okay, so ano ba itsura ng hanging, guys? Ganito, oh. Ah, ayan. Ganyan itsura ng hanging. So, what would it look like? So, I'll try to make an example for that. Okay, so let's say Tumala S. Balikan natin, ano? 2020. Literature of the Philippines and the world. Okay? So, let's say ganyan siya, ano? Okay, so paano natin to gagawing hangin? So, kailangan nakapasok siyang ganyan. Tapos, let's say, retrieve, minsan kasi guys, may books na galing din sa internet. Okay, let's say, pahabain ko lang para makita nyo lang yung itsura. Pero hindi talaga dapat ganito yan, ha? Rex Bookstore. Ayaw mag-type. Rex Bookstore, Manila, Philippines. Retrieve from? Okay, so did you see it? Nakita nyo ba siya? Nakahanging siya. So, yan po yung tinatawag nating hanging. So, later, if we still have time, I'll remind you how to do it. So, ikakopy ko muna to. Boom. Kakopy ko muna siya. Okay, let's move on. Okay, okay, okay. So, again, this is just our reference page. Okay, now let's move on to in-text citation. So, what is an in-text citation? So, when we say in-text citation, let's say we've got some information from the internet, and what we want to do is to acknowledge the person who wrote it. So, yan na yung habang nasa chapter 1 kayo, is pinapangalanan nyo yung mga tao. Okay, pinapangalanan nyo yung mga tao na nag-contribute doon sa or yung naggawa ng information na yon. Okay? So, this is an example of in-text citations. And in the APA style, we have different ways to do that. But I will discuss that later. So, ayan. So, as you can see, why do we cite people? Okay, so we cite people because to acknowledge them, that's number one. And do you still remember what I said earlier? It's a way of organizing the ideas. So as you can see, andito si Hemingway, Hennings, 2010. So it means yung information na nandito sa taas is kanya. Okay, kanya yan. Pero itong nandito, simula dito hanggang dito kay Jones na yan. Okay? So ganun po ang citation. It is used to help us organize our ideas. Okay, ba't ang laki nito? Yeah. Okay, moving on. So, there is this thing we call paraphrasing. So, paraphrasing is when you take information that is not general knowledge and put it in your own words. So, for example, 100,000 people were diagnosed with AIDS in the first month, which worried many physicians. So, I have an activity for you today. Use the chat box, please. Can you please paraphrase this one? Okay. Again, please paraphrase this one. Okay, I will circle it. Should I? Okay, paki-paraphrase nito, paki-send sa chat box, send it privately. Paki-paraphrase. Okay? So, I'll show you how I paraphrase it. This is just an example. So, when we say paraphrase, is you are changing it in your own words. Okay? So, let's say, gawa kayo ng inyo, gagawa din ako ng akin. Okay, guys, ano na, nasa na yung sagot nyo, tapos na ako. Okay? Paki-paraphrase. Tingnan niyo itong ginawa ko. According to Mello 2012, many physicians were alarmed when 100,000 people upon exposure were diagnosed. Ay, hindi pala. Tanggalin na natin to. May upon exposure na pala ako sa dulo. Okay. According to Mello 2012, many physicians were alarmed when 100,000 people were diagnosed with autoimmune deficiency syndrome just upon their first month of exposure. Okay. So this is a thing that we call paraphrasing. So that's your task. Kindly send it to the chat box. Then as we go on, I'll just okay, I'll take a picture. Okay, please send in the chat box dito sa Messenger, dito sa Zoom paki-send. Okay. Okay. So let's move on. So habang ginagawa nyo yan, proceed na ako sa next. Send ko na lang sa Messenger yung sentence. Okay, so it could be paraphrased like this. Okay, when paraphrasing a source information, you are required to list the first 7 authors' last names and publication date. This can occur by mentioning the author in a sentence or after with a year. Okay, so it depends on the format. Okay, so we have here an example. Brown et al. Indicated that 100,000 were diagnosed with an immune system disorder in 30 days, 2010. Or it is implied that doctors were concerned with the numbers of patients diagnosed with AIDS in such short amount of time. So naalala nyo ba yung ginawa kong citation kanina? Yung ginawa kong citation kanina is nilagay ko yung meaning ng AIDS, but I'm not sure if that's the real meaning of AIDS. I just assumed na yun yung meaning ng AIDS. Okay. So, kaya ko po nilagay yung meaning ng AIDS is kasi we don't know if it's the first time na minention yung AIDS dun sa research. If it's the first time, you can include the whole name of AIDS and then put it inside the parenthesis yung word na AIDS. Pero kung nabanggit na siya, you can use AIDS na. Okay? So, please remember that. Okay, so continue. Okay, so now let's talk about what is an example of a general knowledge. Okay, we'll see. Okay, so general knowledge. Okay, dito muna tayo sa direct quotes. So yes, you can include direct quotes in your research. So DQs are when you write information from one of your sources word for word. DQs should not exceed 10% of your paper. You should only include no more than 5 and should be no longer than 3 lines long. In text citations, off-direct quotes require the author's name, the publication date, or maybe the page number. Okay, that's for hindi naman lahat may page number. That's why you're not recommended to put the page number when citing people. Again, guys, don't put the page number na. Kasi is iba-iba kayo ng kinukuhanan ng information. Okay, so what is a direct quote? So I'll show you what it looks like. So this is an example of direct quote. So if you are going to copy paste what that person said, you have to put this. Kailangan natin maglagay ng ganito. Okay, yung parang kalimutan ko tawag dito eh. Colon ba ang tawag dito? Ay, salim, bilog ko. Ito. Yan. Kailangan natin maglagay ng ganyan, yung parang pan-dialogue, para kung yung direct niyang sinabi, ilalagay mo. Okay, so again, if you want to put the exact one na sinabi ng taong yon, use that. Okay, that indicates that it is a direct quote. But I do not recommend using direct quote. Why? Kasi especially kung nasa college kayo, sa college guys is gumagamit sila ng plagiarism tool. If they're using plagiarism tool, lalabas na may plagiarism sa inyo kasi kinopy-paste siya. It's uncontrolled. So I better not recommend using direct quotes, but you can use it. Okay. So if you try to go back here, remember that it should not be more than 5. Hindi dapat dadami ng 5 yung mga direct quotes sa thesis nyo. And then hindi rin siya pwedeng 3 lines long. Okay? Or it should not be more than that. Okay, moving on. So, any guess what is et al? Okay, guys, what is et al? Can someone share an idea what is et al? Okay, so when we say et al, we are using et al if there are 3 or more people. Okay? So, let's say nandyan si Tomala, si Dakula, si Malabanan. Okay, pag 3 na sila, you are going to use et al. So let's go to et al. So et al is a lifesaver. So it is how you can include multiple authors without listing them all every single time you use information from that source. Many of your sources may have 10 or more authors, which means you would have to write them, all of them, just to cite properly. But et al. Fixes that. Kasi ang hirap naman na isa-cite natin yung mga tao. So we use et al. So how to use it? So after you have already listed up to 7 authors from a source, once you may use et al. Et al. Includes the authors you listed previously. So let's say ang author ay si Brown, si Jones, si Perez, and si Rosa. So imbes na ilagay mo silang lahat, you're just gonna use it this one. Brown et al. 2001. Okay. So paano ba ang tamang pagkakasulat ng et al, guys? Ganito. Et space al period. Okay? Ganyan lang. Ganyan lang siya. So, kung nasa unahan siya, according to Brown et al. Period, year 2010, or let's say 2001, ganyan ang itsura niya. Okay? And then, kung nasa dulo naman siya, ganitong itsura niya, yung nasa baba. Brown et al, 2001. Okay? So, again, et al, yan po ang et al. Okay? Let's continue. Okay, so let's go to the reference page or yung tinatawag natin bibliography. So you should include all sources used in your paper on a separate page after the end of your chapter. You should have at least 5 scholarly sources on this reference page. All sources on your reference page should be cited in your paper at least once. Okay, so no, it's not at least 5. It should be lahat ng binanggit nyong tao sa research ninyo ay nasa bibliography. Okay, hindi siya at least 5. No. It should be everyone. Okay? Lahat ng nabanggit na tao sa paper ninyo na may mga parentheses at year, you have to include their name in the bibliography. Okay. So, how do we write APA? So, first we have to write the author's name, the year of publication, the title of the article, that periodical or journal, title of periodical or journal, kasi may mga ganun pa eh. Okay? Volume, issue number, page number, and then yung mga direct object identifier. So, after ng mga yan, yung mga pages and something like that, you can include there the publisher or anong school yon, let's say research, diba? And then next is maybe the link kung galing siya sa internet. Okay, so that's it. Don't forget the format of the APA. Okay, I hope na ginagawa nyo rin yung bibliography nyo, no? Habang ginagawa nyo yung thesis nyo. Kasi it will be very difficult for you kung wala pa kayong bibliography. Okay, so let's look at this citation. So, is this correct? Say yes or no in the chat box. Is this correct? This citation. Is this correct? Yes or no? Say it in the chat box. Okay, guys, is this correct? Okay, someone said yes. How about the others? Oh, yes daw. Others. How about the others? Ang dami yung 17 kayo dyan, tatlo lang sumagot, oh. Okay, yes, 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 my no, my yes. Okay, so to tell you honestly, this is wrong. Do you still remember? You have to put the year of the publication. Where's the year here? Di ba wala? Okay, so always remember the name, the year, the title. Okay, and then yung page number yan eh. So this is wrong kasi wala yung year. Okay, year is very important. Ma'am, paano po pag walang year? E di ilagay nyo ND. Okay, ND, pag walang year. But I recommend na maglagay kayo ng may year. Kasi kapag ND, hirap. Kasi guys, sa research, kailangan, ano yata kayo, 2013, 2012, I forgot. Okay, parang 2013 na yata kayo. Kailangan hindi bumaba ng 2013. So please, put a year. Okay. So, is this a correct APA format? Yes, it is. Kasi ito naman ay Smith, 2010. And then it is a direct quote. Okay, but You can also change it. Pwedeng ilagay mo sa unahan si Smith, tas yung 2010 nasa dulo. Or pwede rin namang si Smith 2010 nasa unahan. According to Smith 2010. Okay. So, moving on. Okay. So, let's go to this one. So, how can you find a source you printed and need the website very easily? Yan. Paano ba kami maghahanap ng isa site, ma'am? Kasi hindi naman namin alam ang gagawin. Okay, so this is what you should do. Okay, so I have a tip for you that will be very useful when you're going to make your research. So let's say we are here on Google. So let's say ang gusto nating i-search is let's say, what is the meaning of, oh, ano ba yung natawa ko? Bakit ganito? Uy guys, hindi ko to sinearch ha. Yan yung mga, popular search sa Google. What is the meaning of AIDS? Oh, let's say ganun. Okay, or let's say, tanggalin natin yung AIDS. Tagayin natin what is AIDS. Yan. Okay, so paano po tayo maghanap ng mga article na gagamitin sa research? Tignan nyo mabuti to sa Google, guys. Oh. Try to look here. Wait lang, kunin ko lang yung ating spotlight. Take a look at this one. Di ba may date siya? Okay, may date siya. Ito, meron din. So, kapag may date, dyan na kayo kumuha. Huwag na kayong kumuha dito sa mga ganito na walang date. Kasi kung wala siyang date, it will be very difficult for you. Mag-e-ND ka pa. Try natin buksan yung may date at wala ha. Ito, walang date. Buksan natin tong may date. Or, ano kaya? Hanap tayo na medyo maganda. Ito. WHO. Ayan. So, take a look. Dito muna tayo sa walang date. Ano? Tignan nyo siya. Do we have a name? May pangalan ba? May author ba? May date ba? Wala. Wala kayong makita. Di ba? Pero dito tayo sa kabila. May date. November 2021. Though, wala siyang author, pero siya ay WHO. It's from the World Health Organization. Yun. So, that's the point. To make it easy for you, open the links that have dates. Okay? Let's continue. Okay. Okay, and that is the end pala ng ating discussion for today. Okay, so please remember the use of APA format and realize that it is very important. Okay,